baby.
Thank you so much, Finn, for that awesome introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly honored to be recognized by Callen-Lorde. Oh, this is a better mic. This health center was the essential lifeline that provided both practical and emotional support during the process of my transition. From the very first visit back in September 2016, yes, I was a late bloomer, at the Bronx location, when I was anxious, confused, to being excited and supported at my last visit in Brooklyn with my provider. The holistic, inclusive care Callen-Lorde provides ensures that all LGBTQ people receive the health care they deserve, free from discrimination and barriers. I know firsthand about discrimination in healthcare, as about 20 years ago, back when I was much younger, my gynecologist in central New Jersey suggests that perhaps I find a doctor closer to where I live. Her comment bothered me greatly, yet I continue to see her for my annual visits. She did not take the time to check my address on file to see that I actually lived in the area. I was working on Wall Street at the time. I could afford any house in that area. She focused on the demographics of the patients in the waiting room of her private office, where I occupied space as a masculine-dressed woman of color. She was listed as one of the best doctors in the state, and it was the reason why I sought her services and followed my mother's advice. You see, my mother was a nurse for over 35 years and encouraged me and all my siblings to always seek the best doctors, regardless of how much it costs. Today, at 93 years old, my mother, independent, determined, she lives alone. She cooks 3 times a week. I've introduced her to Trader Joe's and some other places. Tells her doctors what's wrong with her. She'll tell you, just write me a prescription for this, this is what I have, whatever ails her. She refuses to see anyone that's under 40 years old. She just thinks you don't have the experience. She inherited this passion for health care from my unconventional grandmother, who was a herbalist and had her 3 children at home back on the island of Jamaica. My 5'5" grandmother saw me for who I am authentically from a very young age. This strong, self-made single farmer who owned her own property as a woman allowed me to ride horses with the boys and my brothers from age 3. My 2 siblings and I lived with my grandmother after my father passed away, and my mother left to live in the UK. My older sister was tasked with cooking and cleaning while I ran around the farm with my older brothers. I didn't have to do all that. Grandma saw something that I didn't see. However, for most of my life, I was confined to walking on eggshells, forced to wear dresses by my mother after I moved to America at age 10, and just going along with the status quo. I knew the image that I saw in the mirror did not match what I felt inside of me. Callen-Lorde was my starting point for a safer ride through the world as I navigated the path as a trans man. being trans is not for the faint at heart. Trans people have been targeted, especially in this election. Vicious laws, policies proposed, enacted throughout this country. We have been the scapegoat for everybody. Healthcare restrictions in many states that limit access to gender-affirming healthcare, particularly for minors. As all this hate is being directed at us, we must work daily, especially now, loving ourselves even more. And you gotta love yourself even more than that. A lot of transitioning is self-acceptance. This process of self-acceptance can be both empowering, challenging, as it often involves navigating internal conflicts, social acceptance, external pressures, embracing the authenticity that has no days off. Not something you just write about in essays, papers, or a rhetorical question. Trans people reminds the world that freedom is real.
Come on now.
We live freedom daily. I have a full horse saddle in my living room because it's a part of me. Callen-Lorde Community Health Center is my ride or die. Get on this ride. This is not a time to be complacent. Let's go. I love you guys.